Are you ready for the possibility of another refinance run in 2024? You're listening to the right episode of the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Kiles, powered by the Mortgage Marketing Animals. And today I've got a friend who is no stranger to the podcast. I'm excited to have Greg Morga. What's up, my man? How are you,
What's
brother?
up, dude? Happy New Year.
Man, back at you, brother. Well, I tell you, you know what? You're always encouraging. We talked right before the holidays. I mean, we probably talk every 90 days or so. And, I'm just always encouraged. You keep me focused on, I'll never forget what you said last year. Purchases, pay the bills, refis, make you extra money. And you said something like that, but it was like
Purchases to survive, refis to
purchases. There you go. Purchases
thrive.
to survive, refis to thrive.
Yeah.
And we're talking to my buddy who did 40% of 2023's business, between 35 and 40% of his business has been refinances, even when rates hit eight and a quarter, eight and a half. It doesn't matter what they're at now. He's just found a way to make sure that refinances stay a key part of his business. We were talking about one of the strategies. I know we're watching rates come down, and he said, "Steve, I'm building a crazy pipeline." This month, just a great little branch. They're doing 25 units for between 10 and 11 million this month, and this is the month of January as we're recording it. Personal production, 11 loans for $4.8 million. 27% of that are refinances. And so, Greg, I always love jumping on a quick podcast to keep us focused on refis to thrive. So talk about it, man. What are you thinking? What are you seeing? How do you continue to put refis in the pipeline, and what are you positioning for as rates come down?
Sure. Yeah. So for 2023, if people are wondering how I closed a good amount of refis, it was
Yeah.
definitely 95% cash outs, right?
Yep.
For multiple reasons. A lot of it being debt consolidation, and then actually good chunk of it, having buyers buy investment properties, right? And using their equity to do that, taking that cash out. I'm kind of pivoting a little bit with refinances this year. The two focuses were to get into divorce refinances with attorneys. I'm closing one today. It's the first divorce refinance I have with an attorney that I called 4 months ago. So, like Carl says, it takes about 90 days with your referral partners when you're calling
Love it.
them. I'm at 120, so I'm 1 month off, but feels good. So closing, I got another divorce refinance that I just started. So that's one. And then number two, I'm trying to build a pipeline for what we call either the near future or the whenever it happens future, I guess
Yeah.
you would call it. So I have this new niche where I call it a pre-approval, underwritten pre-approval for a refinance. That's what I was mentioning to you, Steve. So pretty much what I do is I go through my pipeline of the last, 18 months to 24 months of loans that I closed. And I just have a conversation with them, just a simple text. Hey, let's get together. Let's talk. I have some ideas to run by you. And I pretty much tell them that, they've been seeing the news, they've been seeing the Fed say that they're going to be cutting rates. Then they say they might not. Then they say that they are. Bottom line is the rate that you have right now, if you bought a house in 2023, especially to late 2022, is probably a rate that you rather, get rid of eventually or lower. So what I say is that, because it's been so volatile in the market, let's get you actually underwritten approved for refinance. Let's find out what rate actually would make you feel comfortable doing a rate and term refinance. Let's price that out. Let's look at 20 years loans. Let's look at 15-year loans. Let's look at everything. And then once we set that diagnosis, we know exactly what you're looking for. I'll have you in my system ready to go with all your documents uploaded. And then once I know that we're at that rate, I give you a call. We close you in 2-3 weeks tops.
Dude, I
Um,
love it.
yeah, and it's definitely had a lot of reception. You just have to be okay with like not getting any loans closed from it for a while. But this is why I love doing it, because we're all worried about trigger leads right now, right? So trigger leads, they call when
So
you run
good.
their credit right away. So if they're calling right now and the rate that they want is not feasible right now, then all those trigger leads aren't going to be as much of a threat to steal your business as they would be when it is the time. So the trigger leads are done, right? They're in the system. They have all their documents uploaded. And then when you actually are looking up to see if their rate can, make the margin that you want to make and it makes sense for everybody, you don't have to worry about 17 other people getting that information and trying to do the same thing. So you're knocking that out of the way. You can close the refinance sooner, just like if you were to close an underwritten pre-approval for a purchase. And they got all the work done up front. They're not going to want to do it again. So how I see it's like the doctor's approach, and it's locking up a business just like you would lock up like a new construction where you're waiting 8 months, 7 months to close out. It's the same thing with the refinance. So instead of waiting for the refinance boom, right, it's being 10 steps ahead and going through your prospect list when nobody else is. And I also tell them to tell their friends and family, do you know anyone that bought a house recently that is, has
Yeah.
a high payment? So I'll just give you the numbers. I went through my pipeline. Thankfully, I've been busy, so I haven't actually been able to prospect as much as I would like to. But I currently have 24 applications that are ready to go for when the refinance is ready. So I got so in my opinion, I have 24 loans for 2024, unless something.
Already in the pipeline.
Mhm. And here's the thing too, you could talk to them about cash outs, right? So one of the people actually just asked me if they could take out cash, and I got a cash out from it. So it gives you an excuse to call and just have that conversation and open
Yeah.
up doors that they might not have thought of. But you're guaranteed to win no matter what, because you're not going for the sale now. You're going for the sale when time is right, but you're locking it to be with you.
Dude,
And
what a great strategy to go back, and a great reason to reach out to the clients, especially 2022, 2023, that are at a place where they never intended to be there long term. They knew they needed to get the rate in order to get the house, with their eyes already focused on a refinance, brother. So you're literally being strategic with it. You're making the calls, having the conversations, setting up a consultation so that you know what their goal is, and putting a kind of a dash mark next to them and saying, when the
yeah,
rate hits this, we're going to pull the trigger here. So you've already got 24 loans in your pipeline that it's
yeah.
just a matter of the rates coming down, and there's your boom. I mean, who
Mhm.
couldn't use another 24 plus loans for the year?
And it's going to be easier to close too because you did all the work. Just like when you
Dude,
do, I've been a
yeah.
big, me, I was an advocate for underwritten approvals for purchases forever.
Oh, yeah.
I love that idea because you're getting all the work done, right? And you're taking it from an advisor approach. You're being relevant, right? You're not
Mhm.
just a loan officer calling a past client asking for business. You're being relevant to the news. The news in the market is that the market is volatile. If you bought within the last 18 months, it's probably a high payment. And here's how we think that it's going to be to get that to a lower payment. But let's get all the work done now, because I'm sure that when the time comes, you're going to want to lock right away, sir or madam. You're going to want to close in 2 weeks, not two
Yeah.
months, right?
Yeah.
So let's be ahead of the game.
Yeah.
So you're benefiting the client. The client thinks of you as an advisor right now, which is where you
That's
want to be,
awesome.
you know, right?
Yeah.
And they're happy with the rate that you told them about. They're not looking for other things. They might bring it up. Hey, can I get lower? Well, yeah, based on where we're at, but then it's easier to, sell points if you have to,
Yeah.
if you're going to get them to that rate. So I just think it's a win-win. And I think for people that maybe they're struggling right now, they don't have as much business, there's no reason not to be able to call any single person that you close within the last 18 months. I also think it's an EPO prevention too. Because you're getting the person satisfied for something in the future. So maybe they're not,
Mm.
they get a trigger lead. Oh no, I already talked to my lender. We have a plan. Thank you. You know,
Hey, so you're literally calling them like on your database Wednesday. You're going through the list, but being strategic with the ones who you know you can help in a refi, getting them in a position to do your consultation, complete the app, go ahead and review credit, which automatically gets the trigger leads to happen now as opposed to maybe 90 days from
yeah,
now.
that's the goal. Is to
Gathering
get the trigger lead out of the
documents.
way. Mm-hmm.
Dude, you're already gathering documents, teeing them up, and saying, all right, are you checking in with them every 30 days and just saying, hey, I'm watching the market for you?
Yeah.
Or do you have a process to
It
that?
depends. It depends on the
Uh-huh.
client. I have somebody that doesn't want to refinance until the rates are like, 5.25. I said I'll
Yeah.
check in, probably twice a month. There's some people that they want to be at 5.99. I'm checking in with them every other week. There's
Dude,
people
that's
that,
awesome.
it depends on the person, but I'll have it on an Excel sheet. I just like change it in my system. I got a partner that helps me
Yeah.
too and calls
Yeah.
them. But yeah, it's just like setting a diagnosis. It's being a doctor,
I love it.
and
Mhm.
I think it's great, and I'm going to continue to do it probably for the rest of my career because I think it's awesome. I think it's an
Yeah.
awesome. I do.
Well, it's a great value add. It sets you apart as a professional. You're building the future pipeline, and you're not saying when the rates. Here's what I'm hearing. Hey, when the rate goes down, I'm going to start going after my clients and my database. That'll
Mhm.
be too late. So
Right.
the time is now to start setting the precedent
Mhm.
of what you can expect. And hey, I'm going to call you biweekly. I'm going to call you monthly until we hit that number. But when we hit that number, we're going to
I'm gonna
run
call you.
and be able to
Mhm.
get you closed up within about 2 to 3 weeks. So
And I don't go
very
by
strategic.
rate number, by the way. I'm sorry. I go by monthly payment. I'm sorry
Yeah.
if I didn't say that from
Yeah.
before. So I don't target a rate. I target a monthly payment, but I tell them what rate it would take to get there.
Yeah.
But then what happens, Steve, is the reason why I do that is let's say that, the rates get better. We get really good news for ourselves. And let's say that we switch to a lower coupon. And
Yeah.
for some reason, there's such a better margin on a certain rate, and I could switch that. So maybe I don't have to charge so many points, and then the loan amount drops, so it's the same payment as they wanted. So I
Yep.
just give them like a roundabout where they should be rate
Yeah.
wise, but I
Yeah.
focus on the payment.
Yeah.
What payment makes sense for you to refinance, and then we get them to that payment at the time.
Hey, and what
So
do you see in the amount? How much are they typically saving? Like what kind of a payment amount gets somebody
most
excited
people
about refi?
most people want to save $300.
Dude, that's great, man. Well, and your
Mm-hmm.
average loan amount's already higher anyway. You're about a 485, 400 loan amount. So dude, that's huge.
Yeah. It's definitely been higher because of the market. So we're
Hmm.
definitely at higher. So it's easier to get there. Um, but it typically takes about a point, a
Yeah.
little bit more to save them that kind of money on a 30 year.
Hey, and are you running them par? Are you charging a point in it? Are you trying to reduce the cost? What's your strategy when you're looking at it? Hey, if we reduce it a percent in rate, you may have to pay a point, but it's going to be okay because here's what's going to do your monthly
I've
payment, your break
always been an
evens.
advocate for points. I
Yeah.
straight up, not that I charge 3.5 points every single time, but I'm not afraid to charge the points. I think it makes sense for a lot of the clients. I know there's going to
Mm.
be some that disagree. Agree to disagree. That's just how my strategy has worked. I think if you
35
start
to
with the math,
40% of your business is
yeah.
refi. So your
Mhm.
strategy's working.
Mhm.
So
And I listen when
yeah,
they ask me about it. I'm a close disclosure. I give them math and I tell them what they're saving and why I do it. And nine
yeah,
out of 10 times they're okay with it. You just got to
yeah.
know what you're doing. You don't just charge points to make money and not benefit the client. I won't do that, but I don't just look for a free rate. Are there some people that should take free rates? Yes. With refinances, I think it's very, very rare.
Yeah.
Right now, at least.
All right,
So.
brother. Hey, give us any closing advice, man. I love the strategy. You and I were talking last month. I'm like, we've got to talk about this to help our
Mhm.
loan officers get ready. Any closing thoughts?
So if you're going to approach this, don't make your goal getting a loan. Make your goal getting an application and getting documents. If you do that and you set the expectation, when the time comes, right, you're going to have a boom. You're going to be able to put 5 loans in 1 month really quickly, and you're going to be really happy about
Love it, man. Hey, well, Greg, just you're such a great contributor here at the Freedom Club. I'm grateful for our friendship, and thank you for what you're doing for this industry to help us get better. I think this is a number one strategy loan officers need to implement in quarter 1 of this year
it.
to
Yep.
make sure you're not just getting ready, but you are ready, and you'll be ahead of the curve in all of your competition when it comes to refinancing. And I love that too, man. It's also an EPO, early payoff prevention, because man, if we're not careful, the ones we closed in October, November, December are going to bite you if you
Mhm.
don't already have your clients teed up ready for something in the next 3 to 5 months. So great job, Greg.
Thanks, man. Always a pleasure talking to you, brother.
Hey, and everybody remember this, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.